What's up, Panda Nation? Peter Von Panda here. Hey, just bought myself a pair of runbone Bone-Conduction headphones. Bone-Conduction, running. They're meant for being active, and it comes in this nice zippered hard case. And the reason I picked these up is because they were cheap. Some of the cheapest Bone-Conduction headphones I could find. You can see a nice little orange pull tabs on both the tabs here. About $35-ish, and true unboxing. But I wanted to show these to you because unlike the last ones I just showed you that took like 6 weeks to get here, these were available via Amazon Prime, and so I got them in a couple of days. So you got that going for you. Quick start guide here for the runbones. I think they should just be like every other Bone-Conduction, but the design is kind of unique, and I've never heard of this company. So here's what you get in the box. Looks like we get a little cardboard. Oops, a little kind of pulled it apart. Oh, a little Velcroed tab there for, I don't know how to get this out. Oh, really wrap around the side there. A little Velcro to get the micro USB cable out, as you can see, for charging. That's the most secure micro USB cable I've ever seen. And then we have, oh, look at that, it's smiling. Then we have the headphones themselves right here. Runbone. That's what it says, because that's what they are. And kind of that typical Bone-Conduction style. You've got a nice big loop here, and that's got to kind of create some tensions, kind of compress these together so that you get a nice solid connection where the pad meets your cheekbone. You put these right in front of your ears, and as you can see, they're generally like rubber. This is a little interesting. I'll zoom in there. Most of these are just like flat little rubber pieces. This has like a little like volcano-like dimple on it, with a little nip in the middle. Not sure what that's specifically for. Maybe it just helps with the conduction. So it's very much textured and kind of rippled, much more than I've ever seen. And I'm actually not even sure what this little like dot there is, but it is there. And so a little different than some of the other Bone-Conduction headphones I've seen in the past. And then we have a kind of a lightning bolt like kick down here. That's also a little bit unique, kind of an interesting style there. And we also have another like rubber or silicone nip right there as well. So you can see here, kind of like a gunmetal gray color. Looks like, I'm not sure what the opening there is for. I don't know if those are lights or whatnot. But we do have the positive and minus button right here, kind of on this little flange that sticks out. And you can see here, they kind of click. So that's interesting. And then on this side, we do have the play pause. And I don't know if this is actually a button or if it does anything. I guess it is clicking. Play pause, so we can find out what that little equalizer, little heartbeat symbol looks or does. And then we have like a piano black plastic band all the way around, so you can see it kind of angles up. On the inside here, we do have like a rubber lining, so it should be relatively comfortable. And we even have a couple of like humps on the band itself. Again, I'm not sure if that's just to kind of secure it in a little bit, but press it against your head. Sometimes they have like a rubber or silicone strap back here to kind of create tension on different sized heads. Now this doesn't have it. I have a very big head, so if this fits me, great. If it's a little tight, even better for most people, because you'll have probably a smaller head and it'll be a nice fit. But if it fits me and is loose, it'll probably be a little loose on yours as well. These don't angle up at all. All right, and then on the back here, kind of on the bulk of it, where the battery and the electronics are, looks like that's the power button, LED, and then a little cover for the micro USB port. Now, I didn't see, oh, there we go. There is a little hole right here, so I think these are microphoned up, so you could take a call on them. So, kind of all the standard headphone features. Pretty nice. Actually, even a nice little tether right there. Actually better than many of the other ones I've seen in the past. So let's get these charged up, paired, and let's try them out. So one thing I did want to show you, there isn't a lot of documentation here, but obviously we've got a little flashing light, and I think that's some sort of like activity sensor. So Not sure exactly yet, but you can see it's flashing there. And I will tell you right off the bat, when I have them on, we'll do a review of that. But you can definitely feel these pads vibrating. That is, it's very noticeable that there's kind of a smaller little footprint that's touching your cheek than some of the other bone conduction headphones. So let's take a closer look at it. All right, guys, so I have these things charged up. I have them paired to my iPhone here, and I put them on, and I've been listening to them. The nice thing, first of all, in terms of fit, they do fit right, even though I have a gigantic pumpkin-sized head. You know, they do fit in front of my ears. Now, I will say, though, because of the size of my head, they aren't probably as far forward as I would probably like, but they're fine, right? But I could actually stand it if they would, like, maybe a quarter of an inch further forward, you know what I'm saying? Just because my head is so big. The other thing is the kind of the height of the bars here is pretty nice. They do fit behind my ears and kind of rest on my ears, so they do feel nice and secure. And there is a lot of pressure kind of compressing them, so they definitely feel pretty snug. A couple of things also about the design here is that this kind of hangs down pretty low because of the battery, and so that actually feels pretty snug there. If you have a smaller head, I don't know, it might be a little loose, but I don't feel like this is going to be a problem for pretty much anyone. You're kind of going to, because it's kind of so tight, you think it's going to fit and work really well. Now, the other thing is, obviously I was listening to some things, but as I just showed you, those little like ripples that indentations on the ear pads themselves, you can feel. You can't feel them so much when you put it on. You know, I would say it's a little less comfortable than the ones that are flat. Now, I won't say that they're bad, but to be really honest, I prefer the flat ones, given that you're kind of getting all of that vibration, you know, focused in that little area, or at least that is what it feels like to me. I'm not sure what that little sensor is, if it's just for being on your head or off. You know, so I was actually trying to figure that out. So I've got it playing right now, and then if I take it off, I thought, okay, maybe it's detecting that they're not on me anymore, but they don't seem to do anything. They don't seem to do that. And I don't know if that's going to pair, like there's an activity, you know, or a motion sensor, and so it's going to pair with an app. The instructions are exclusively this little card, and there was no indication of that. So it would have been interesting if this has, like, you know, a Fitbit type of sensor in it to give you, you know, steps or something, but it seems like the hardware is there, but I couldn't figure out any way to capture that data. So that's what that is. Now, my other criticism on this is the shape, this kind of lightning bolt shape of the connectors. So I don't mind that these things kick down, but because you can't see it, what I kind of was figuring out is that my finger is kind of looking for the shape of the headset, looking for the buttons, and you kind of inadvertently press up here, hoping that you're hitting the volume or the play pause, and you've got this whole other little panel down here, and that's where these things are. And so it wasn't always clear, and you don't get a really good, you know, click feedback. Kind of, you know, it does click, but especially if you're moving around, and because the plastic is just a little loose anyway, it's actually really kind of tough to tell that you're clicking things. Okay, so it's not really obvious because the buttons aren't really, you know, large or protruding, that you're clicking and finding those clicking things, right? I mean, over time, I'm sure you'll kind of figure it out. Now, the little, you know, the wave sign or the on the bottom here, I can't figure out what it does at all. Wasn't in the instructions. I pressed it a number of times when I was playing around with it. Never seemed to do anything, so I think it's just a dead button. It's kind of my guess. But the play pause absolutely works, and I don't have anything playing right now, but I have Florida Georgia Line playing, and you might be able to hear it. And this is probably the volume I'd have it if I were being really active. It's probably a little louder than I would have it if I were just sitting here kind of listening to a podcast on it or something. But if you can hear it from here, you know, just keep in mind that bone conduction is pretty interesting, but it's kind of just like these really focused loudspeakers that are really pressed into the bone. I mean, it's not like a super high-tech science thing, in my opinion. Okay. The other thing I will tell you is that the volume up and down actually does control the phone, so you will see your volume slider go up and down as well. So that was pretty nice. That works, and you know, it's just a quick tap. The other thing, like I mentioned though, is because you don't get a lot of really positive feedback when you tap, it's not always clear if you've tapped it, and because of the Bluetooth delay, sometimes I was hitting the play pause thinking I wasn't sure if I was clicking it and registering that click, and I would click it a couple times and then kind of play pause again. So you just don't get like really great movement, and because the whole thing moves a little bit, as you can see here. Okay, see there, I got it. Because the whole thing, I kind of found myself trying to grab it like this and pinch it just to make sure I was registering that click. Not the ideal way to do it, okay? Because if I just push it, sometimes you move the whole thing and it doesn't register the click. And cruise, yeah, oh. Feel it, oh. Yeah. But other than that, they do work, and for under 40 bucks, I think, you know, they seem to be a lot cheaper than a lot of the other ones that I've had and work just as good. And they came in 2 days as opposed to 6 weeks, so definitely like it. Check it out if you're looking for a cheap pair of Bone-Conduction headphones that definitely work. You know, these are the ones I found. I'll put a link to the description. Peter Von Panda, out!